Okay, well, everybody, welcome to the October 18th Festival of Chimes and Lights Committee meeting. We're going to get started right away with the Kitsap Bank Community Connections information.
Yeah, so we did receive I think it's $1,000 from Kitsap Bank for the 2021 Festival of Chimes and Lights. So that was deposited into the account. And we also did submit for the 2022 Festival of Chimes and Lights. And usually we get the notification around September, October.
So we have been supposed to getting back to them with testimonials and such. During COVID, it has been really difficult to have a testimonial, but this year we'll try to connect and see if we can get some of that information back to them.
Perfect. Sounds good. And I'll let them know that we will be working on that this year.
Okay, great. Okay, so the next thing we're talking about is the application. Festival of Chimes and Lights application.
Yeah, so the application is, as of right now, it's been completed. It is going before council next Tuesday. I just spoke to Brandy before the meeting and she said she will be sending it out to Kitsap Transit for their comments. But she said it was her understanding that as Sydney Avenue is not going to be one way, it is going to be open both directions, that Kitsap Transit should have no issues. But she said she'll let us know as soon as she hears back. But yeah, the application is scheduled to go before council next Tuesday.
Okay, the rest of the committee may not know that we were working on a route for the possibility of having the traffic going through town. And so that was something that we started on after our last meeting. Since I don't have the camera working, I can't really show you. But it is something that would start, well, Janine can fill us in on what has been accepted because it's been altered a bit. It would be something that would pretty much go down Bay Street, turn to the north towards the library on Sydney, follow along the parking lot, and then kind of come out and do a loop through the boat launch parking lot and kind of make a way come around back to head to Sydney again. Although it's been altered a bit so that we can have two-way traffic coming through, right, Janine?
It's my understanding from what I remember. Yeah, that Sydney will be completely open to traffic.
Right, and that there can be traffic entering from both sides of Bay Street. So yeah. We don't have the final map on that, but that's being worked on and tweaked by the powers that be, because there's a lot of traffic management that goes with it. And we've got Mark sitting here going, how is this possible? We've talked to the chief about it. Mark, do you want to add anything? He's got his hand up.
Yeah, so the city using these kind of base maps that we've created for events, we made the final revisions, and Janine, you should probably have that.
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen really quick and see if I can pull it up.
And that's the map that then Chimes and Lights will take to a transportation consultant to actually prepare a traffic control plan. So
hold on. It's not good.
Gotta generate here.
There it goes.
So you can see that this revised has previously, when Sydney was one way, that inadvertently closed lots 3 and 4 in Harrison, and then had issues obviously with Kitsap Transit because it was like from 3 to 8 right when they were in the middle of the run. So this will require having a flagger that's controlling traffic at Sydney and Bay, and also at the very north end of Sydney where the one-way comes out in front of the foot ferry. Other than that, and then restricting the right turn coming out of Orchard Street at lot 1. It says RTO there, Janine, in green. When you come out of there, once you're in this loop, you're gonna have to go at least to the boat launch to Water Street. And if you want out, then you can take a right and continue. Otherwise you can loop back around and then get back into it. And as we were obviously concerned about all the businesses and the residents between Rockwell and Sydney, and the fact that, we will be putting up a message board for people that just want to avoid this area. We will have our Rockwell to Kitsap bypass, our normal big event bypass. So a question for you, Janine, is you said this is going to council for approval next week?
Correct.
Okay, well, I don't think we've seen a final complete application yet. I haven't.
Correct. Brandy still has it. She said she's submitting it to Kitsap Transit first. So I don't know the process after that. That's just what I was told.
Okay, well, if you want my memo in the packet for the 26th, we'll have to have it. I have a draft, but it was based on the previous. So as soon as we can get that application out so that I can respond, that'll be awesome.
Okay, I'll ask Brandy if she wants me or her to send that out.
Yeah, and mine would be a tentative as well until we see the actual traffic plan from a traffic management company.
So it seems a bit premature to have it on the 26th.
It was my understanding, yeah, that's a great Brandy question, and I can ask her and follow up with you guys.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there going to be any walking traffic if lot 3 and lot 4 is open to the public to park in? They're available to do that, are they? And then walk over to wherever the lights are along the port of Bremerton Marina? And if that's where we're going to have the Santa set up on the grassy area like we did last year, are they able to come by and visit Santa because they're walking?
Well, I'm assuming if they're in lots 3 and 4, they're going to be walking along the boardwalk and the sidewalk. So there's a pedestrian facility all along the lot 3 and 4. You can walk on the water all the way to lot 1 and 2. They're all connected on the shoreline.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Do you have any issue with that, Chief? I mean, they're not.
Yeah, I mean, there's no mingling of pedestrians and vehicles if that's the case outside of normal what's in the parking lot, because that's an operational parking lot. That's why we had to do something with flaggers to keep Sydney open, because we couldn't close those parking lots. Are we still having Santa? What's the COVID plan for putting children on an old man's lap?
I have no idea at this point. The last meeting, we just talked about a drive-through and people waving at Santa, but I'm trying to clarify because of the fact that you've got people that are walking the boardwalk, and if that's where Santa is, how do we stop them? We barricade Santa off so the public can't come up and visit with him.
Yeah, I mean,
Isn't he up in
would be
that great
reasonable.
big huge sled? He's in that really tall sled.
Yeah,
No,
we can't-
that's the Port of Bremerton sled. Santa doesn't sit in there.
I thought that's what Cindy said they were gonna, didn't he sit there last year?
No,
The last conversation that I remember that when it was Public Works, the police department, and I believe Cindy, is we were not going to have Santa at all.
Right, can you hear me?
Yep. we can
Yes.
hear you.
I'm having a problem with camera for some reason. Anyway, the Santa is supposed to be there, but kids are not going to be sitting on his lap and people are not going to be stopping. So that's the whole issue,
Right, that was the last, and that's why I think
is that this is going to be a drive-by.
Well,
There will be scenes and the cars are going to be slowly driving through, but we aren't going to have the public stopping. And that's part of why we're able to move forward with this. Kathy?
So what about the lighted boats? So that is people. We talked about still having the lighted boats and people walking and accessing the docks and then controlling how many were down there. So is that still a go?
Well, what we'd like to do is see if we can have the lighted boats actually anchored. You can't do that?
No, I think Rhonda, is on this. She's under me. I invited the coordinator for the Sinclair Inlet Yacht Club to join this meeting, but the lighted boats are stationary on the dock. And we had talked about if you guys wanted to do a parade, it would be the yacht club that would have to be contacted and not the Port Orchard Yacht Club and not the Sinclair Inlet Yacht Club. But the Sinclair Inlet Club is moving forward with their lighted boat display on the guest dock at the Port Orchard Marina with limited people access, group access. That my understanding was this committee was going to help them with crowd control.
Right, so let me chime in here, Chimes and Lights. So as a boater, the last thing I'm gonna wanna do is at night, pull my boat off the dock in unknown weather conditions and somehow try to anchor. That's just not a reasonable consideration. So getting back to the original question from Sharon, this event is set up as a drive-through. Nobody getting out of their cars. There's no reason to get out of their cars because they're not sitting on Santa's lap. They're not taking pictures with Santa. That's the intent. And to me, that's doable. If people want to go down and walk on the docks and they can park in lots 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they can walk down, then it's just crowd control from that standpoint. I think the unintended consequence that Sharon is bringing up is that people are naturally going to migrate Santa, making this assumption, and so that's the thing that we just need to address is whether, I mean, that doesn't mean somebody isn't going to park their car at lot 4 with their kids and walk all the way down to lot 1 and realize they can't get to Santa, other than what we can do in noticing in advance. But I could still see some mother and family walk down and walking back that. But that, I don't think it's the intent, and we certainly can't put signs up on the sidewalk that says "Do not enter" because you can't get close to Santa, because the marina needs to be, the tenants need to have access. So we can't close the sidewalk. I think you're just going to have to manage people's expectations through public noticing that they can walk down on the sidewalk, they can walk onto look at the boats, and they can look at they can walk through and look at the lighted displays.
That's about all they would get to see, because the disadvantage of Santa for them, the walkers on the boardwalk, is the fact that he's going to be strictly looking at the vehicles, because that's the intent, is there's the drive-through. So he's going to be waving with his back to the people on the boardwalk, and I know they're going to be so disappointed. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. How do we control that?
Well, my concern is probably the chief's concern is theoretically, if you could have a lot of people on the boardwalk that's now not meeting the COVID criteria. So I don't know. When we were looking at this before, I think we were looking at it from at least Public Works was looking at it strictly from the road closures, Kitsap Transit, keeping the foot ferry operational. What do we do with traffic control so that people can just drive and look? This, getting down to the docks and looking at lighted displays, and then walking to look at these lighted displays, that's a whole different ballpark that I'm going to let somebody else address. How do you manage that? Because that's out of my lane. So
yeah, I mean, I think the difficulty that we're coming up on with this is that you cannot stop people from using public property, so you can't stop them on the sidewalks. If you have things that are going to attract people as pedestrians in an area that you can't exclude them, then we do need to look at how that is managed. And we now have two-way traffic where, again, the hope is that they'll stay on pedestrian pathways, but that's going to be on the Chimes and Lights Committee to make sure that is messaged and signed. Signage is put up so people aren't wandering the parking lot in and amongst the parade goers.
Sorry, it looks like Cindy is no longer in attendance, so let me see if I can find a way to get her back in.
Janine, I'm trying to enter from another computer.
Okay.
And everything is, I don't know what it is, but neither of these computers is having the camera link work. It's very weird. Yes, and yes, and yes to all of these things. Managing crowd control. We don't even quite know what we're dealing with yet. COVID numbers are starting to go down. We don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of months. The whole idea of the setup of what we have going on now is that we can have an event, and we'll have to work with all of the details as we go. The idea is that people would be safe in cars, and it would be better to have that than nothing at all. So it's so brand new. I don't know exactly how it would happen. We just wanted to find out if there was a possibility that we could have the cars slowly going through town to be able to see the light displays. I don't know. I think it could work.
Cindy, if you blast out on social media and even the newspaper, give us a little bit of space on Kitsap Daily News page that walking is, not necessarily the best thing to do, but do a drive-through, because no one's going to be able to, like the chief said, sit on Santa's lap. So the reason they would probably park would be to come down, see the lights and see Santa and get a candy cane. And so I think advertising it as effectively as we can as to the total plan, and even maybe put a map out, the one that Dorsey had, put a map out for people to see where it is and what it is. Hard decisions.
Rhonda, are you on this meeting?
I am, yes.
Do you have anything you want to comment on about from Sinclair Inlet Yacht Club with the lighted boats?
Well, I think that right now, having our event has now, it's actually the boating community has already on social media has already proclaimed that we're doing it. So we're kind of locked into it at this point. It's going to be interesting for us to see how we involve the public in that, truly in the true sense of what our event is, which is where they walk the docks and they boat on their favorite boat. So if we don't want any walking traffic, that's going to make it interesting for us. I have some ideas. I don't know how well they would work. Like, say, for instance, we have everybody post their pictures on our on maybe the Chimes and Light or wherever it is, the pictures of their boats on social media or on the web page or whatever, and people can go there and vote. I don't know how effective that would be. So those are the considerations that I have. The other thing is that if we are going to have it open to the public, then how are we going to control the crowds is our other concern, because we don't want to be that event, right?
We see you, Cindy.
Finally. No. I've got to get rid of this one. Just a second. There we go. All right. Yahoo. That was a maze. So forgive me for missing that last bit that you were saying. I was hearing part of it in Echo Land. So could you repeat just the very last part of it, please?
Oh, just that we don't want to be that event. So we would prefer, if we are going to have people walking, then we do want to have some sort of crowd control then with that.
Well, we are going to be talking to a traffic control group. And as far as crowd control, we are definitely going to just be promoting it as a vehicle pass through. So
So Cindy, how does that affect the lighted boats? Is that something that isn't even a good piece of the puzzle anymore and boaters should just do their own thing and not make it a public event? Or what are you thinking?
I'd love to have the lighted boats there.
Yeah, that's what Rhonda was the one speaking. So that's what she was kind of talking about, trying to
Right.
figure out how the lighted boats fit into the whole overall scheme.
Because ours is a walking event, you know. it's
What I'll have
something-
to do is go down there, Kathy. Can you kind of take a look to see how much vehicles could actually see? They all sign up, they all sort of moor at the guest moorage, right, when they come?
Yeah, you don't really, I mean, as close as you get is over by the totem pole where it kind of goes around. And really the boats are out a ways towards the activity float. And then they're kind of scattered on the breakwater and everywhere. You don't really get a good look at them from the shore. It really is a go down and walk. So I think it is kind of contradicting, you know, what you guys are trying to accomplish with the drive-through. So
Right.
I'm just, we have boats already scheduled. They're coming regardless. I think it's just a matter of whether or not that should be an open to the public thing that we advertise and get people out walking or not.
Okay, well, then we just won't advertise that. I think that will be the solution, is not advertising the lighted boats. And people will be decorating their boats anyway.
So Rhonda, what do you think about that?
Well, I think that, like I say, it's just going to be a different Christmas lane for us this year. We just won't have any voting public on it this year, and so we'll find other ways to sort of make it. We'll find other ways, I think, for to because one of the things that, of course, the boaters come for is to have that whole interaction with watching the community walk the docks and ooh and oh over the boats. And then, of course, who's going to be the winner of the coveted People's Choice Award and and such like that. So with no People's Choice Award, that kind of takes something off the table there.
So Rhonda, what happened last year?
We did not host, due to the COVID-19, we did not host Christmas Lane last year.
So we won't advertise Christmas Lane as being part of Chimes and Lights, but there will be boats there moored.
Yeah, I think right now, what do we have? Close to 20 boats.
20?
Maybe,
Okay.
maybe more. Yeah, that's what's signed up so far. And we can treat it more of like a yacht club rendezvous thing rather than a public event, Rhonda, I think.
Yeah.
I think that would work. And they'll still be down there, and people will still during that time, be wandering around different times other than even Chimes and Lights. So that will still be wonderful to have on the waterfront. We just won't be able to control crowds going in. So, if the event is Chimes and Lights is actually being advertised as a drive-through thing, then the public expectation will be different. People will be staying in the cars. Maybe they'll come back at another time to try to look at the boats. I'm just not sure. This is pretty new. So I wish I had answers. We just don't know. That's really what it is. We're trying to, if we don't have a decent plan, we can't go forward with it at all. So it's better to have something that's a bit more limited, so that we can actually have an event, rather than none at all, which was pretty much last year. So as far as the tree decorating contest, Janine, can you give us an update on where that's at? Janine, you're unmuted.
Sorry, we have about 30 planners that have been sponsored, and it seems like we do have things coming in daily. So they are starting to fill up.
Okay,
And we
so
will
that
have,
means, go
we
ahead.
will have one less planter due to the accident this weekend. down there in front of the, what is that restaurant? The Bay Street Bistro, sorry.
Correct.
So
Okay,
if
so-
I show up the planter map, can you guys tell me what planter that is?
Yeah,
Okay, let me pull it up.
and I can tell you where all the bits and pieces of the planter in the mud are too.
So we're down to 57.
If that, yeah, pull up the map, Janine, and
That's too bad because in front of the bistro is a good spot for a tree.
well, there's
Maybe-
one, there's still one in front of the bistro. There must have been two down by the bistro at one time.
There were, yeah, there were. We can maybe move one over from that area where there's not any businesses. Maybe we can roll one over.
Okay, can you guys see the map?
Can, yes.
Okay.
Mark,
so
which one
with-
is it?
My guess is,
27 or 26?
it could,
I think it's 28, I believe.
well, no, I think 28 is still there. There's one that's right in front of the piano on the Bay Street Bistro, the expansion.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if it's been moved. It looked like it got damaged a little bit. So if you were to be looking at the Bay Street Bistro,
Right.
that sounded like from the south or something. If you were looking at the Bay Street Bistro, there is a planter that's still there right in front of the window that's right outside where the big grand piano is. And the planter that, so I'm assuming that might have been 27.
Mm-hmm.
It might be 26. It was the one that was a little bit further west that was closer to the alley between the bistro and the movie theater.
Right.
That's not there. So there's,
Destroyed.
Janine, do you have the list of last year in front of you? 26, was that NL Olson?
Rice Fergus Miller.
Rice Fergus Miller?
And
Okay.
then, yeah, 27 was the Trina Farmers Agency. I know this year, 27 is the Farmers Agency. 28 has not been sponsored.
Okay.
okay.
I think that this map is showing them further over than they actually are. I don't
Right.
think 28 sits that far over.
Okay, well, it's either, my guess is it's 26 or 27 that's no longer there. Let's just assume that 28's still there.
Okay,
So there's one less, 26 or 27.
okay. I haven't numbered them yet, so we can eliminate. Oh, crumb. It just upsets the whole numbering system. Oh. Okay. We'll work it out. And Janine, you sold 27 already to Trina.
I
right?
did, yeah. And so if it is planter 27, I can get a hold of her and just say it's whatever second planter in
Mhm.
from the end. That way, if it's 26 or 27, she's taken care of. And then 25, 24, 23, they haven't been sponsored yet.
Okay, good. We'll work it out.
Perfect.
And that
Okay.
means that is renumbering again. Oh, we just can't win on this one, can we? All right, we'll figure it out. So we're minus another number. What kind of accident was it? Somebody who came up on the sidewalk?
It was somebody flying through town at a very high rate of speed westbound that crashed into one car that then crashed into the building. And you haven't seen it?
No, I just got back.
Oh,
I've been out of state.
yeah, they damaged the marquee in the bistro.
Yeah, looking at the pictures, it looks like it's probably number 26.
Okay, that's what I was guessing. All right, so one less tree to be sponsored. Number 26 dead.
Okay, and I'll get a hold of the one sponsor for 20. So should 27 be good then for the
Yeah.
Farmers Agency? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be good. And those two are right in front of the bistro. And if they're not right in front, we'll move them to make sure they are, because it really is beautiful having them right outside there. So,
Okay, I'll update my
So-
spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah, so basically then we were down to 58, weren't we? And so now we're down to 57.
57.
Okay, all right. And let's start making calls on those to see if we can get the rest of those sponsored.
Cindy, I have another question.
Uh-huh.
If it's going to be strictly a drive-through, what is the time frame for the drive-through?
That is something that we were working on. I know that we have that range right now, Mark, you were saying of 3 to 8, but that's too long.
I thought the drive-through itself was 4 to 8 and the 3 o'clock was just the road closure. Again, we've not seen the final application. I know it said 4 to 8 as an event on the one day. We needed to start looking, I think my draft memo talks about, because we've got water barricades to get in place and to fill. We are looking at starting, getting the road approved to close at 3 to 8. And then you've got things and that's just that evening. And then of course, everything is still in place as far as like the lighted boats and the lighted displays for people just to meander through without any road closures. So it's just the one day from 4 to 8 with us shutting the road at 3.
So I would think we would do, what we'll do is we'll light the tree. Once I can see that application that's going to the council and what's all in it, we'll have a better idea. We've just got a few questions like this to work on, the logistics before we actually give the exact time. But I would think it's that time period, the 4 to 8 or 5 to 8. Matt, do you have something to add?
I would just make a suggestion that maybe before we take this to council, we have all of these questions answered. It certainly helps for my planning, Mark's planning, and for Brandy's. And I think it would show the council that all of us have worked together and collaborated, that we've got all the questions answered before we give it to them.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I've only got a draft memorandum. I can't give them a draft memorandum. I need a memorandum based on an actual application. And like the chief said, it actually has the traffic control plan that's based on our conceptual plan, because the plan that we provided isn't the traffic control plan.
So I talked to Brandy. She said she's going to send out the application and get a hold of traffic control today and tomorrow. So you guys should be getting the application today or tomorrow.
Okay.
And right, that once we have a better idea of the traffic control, I would opt though for a little later start time rather than the earlier, because the lights aren't even going to show up. What is
I know 5 to 8 is what's on the application as it is right now for the drive-through, just the drive-through portion.
And that's what I would say. We have to have it dark enough for everything to show up and be pretty. The other ceremony used to start closer to that period of time, other than the choirs. So I think the 5 to 8 is preferable rather than having to be quite so long. Perhaps then the street closure wouldn't have to start so early either. That could go from 4 to 8 then, or whatever it takes.
Correct. I think you guys just need to, whoever are you guys, get the application with the time so that we can then start working on our end to finalize things. Again, as the chief said, we need to get all these answered so that council doesn't have questions, and then so that my memo is reflective of what public works staff needs to do.
Okay, it's 5 to 8 is going to be the drive-through. That's what we'll do. We will have people stationed in the various places. Oh, here, look at, okay, she's got it. There it is. Anything else we have to put in there? There it is. This year is a vehicle drive-through event only to see decorations, lighted trees, and decorated trees.
I think it's supposed to be decorations, lighted trees, and then lighted decorated trees. But I think this is just a initial draft. But yeah, basically the Bay Street sponsored trees, I think, is that part of it.
Okay, well, Santa will be down there, but he won't be visited. He's just going to be waving at cars driving by. We may have the marching band down there. They will not be marching. They will be stationary if we can work that out. We will also try to have some displays in some of the empty lots downtown, and that might even run into, there was a choir that asked about being able to perform. What it's going to be, though, is people going by and seeing these things and not stopping. It's drive-by with static displays. They're going to be hearing bits of music here and there, but they'll be going very slowly. So we'll say 5 to 8, the tree will be lit already. We'll light the tree probably right around sunset. I'm not sure what time that actually is on that date. I have to look that up. And there's a lot to work out because we didn't even know that we could do this until just very recently.
But just know that the more you add as far as bands and choirs and lighted boats and lighted displays and Santa, the more you add that pulls people out of their cars, the more people you're putting onto the sidewalk, and then potentially, making it very challenging to deal with the COVID issue. So again, not my lane, but I just know that as you add stuff, it'll be more challenging.
The problem is there's nothing to see, or not as much to see. You have to have something for people to see as they're driving around, I think, right? So we'll have the lighted tree in front of City Hall and all the decorations in front of City Hall. The port is doing a wonderful job of decorating the whole waterfront. And you're gonna have the big displays again, Kathy, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have our grass display right in front of the marina. That's where we're focusing. We did less at the boat launch last year, but I'm looking at your loop-de-loo map, and it looks like that might be an area that should be decorated over there in the grass by the boat launch. I'm not sure. I'll check, what we have to spread out. I don't know if the city has any other lights, or maybe we can partner and put in some lights at the boat launch, since our main
Let's work
focus.
on that.
Yeah,
Let's see if we can
talk
work on
about that.
Okay. And then, so if we were to have something in the empty lot, 640 Bay Street, that's where I was thinking perhaps we could have some members of the band playing. People can just drive by, see the band members playing. I don't see any reason why they would have to stop. They can't stop because this is a drive-through. I think it would be fun to have a display there by the band. I know that you're saying that people want to get out of their cars or want to go up to it, but I think that seems we're outdoors. We can take this too far, and we're having a display. We're going to have a Zoom. We're going to have a drive-through, different kind of chimes and lights gathering this year. We won't call it gathering because we're so sensitive to language. But I think we've pretty much got it nailed that way. If we can get a couple of stationary displays in those empty lots, that would really help. Then there's something to see. We've got to have something for people to see. That's, if there's a choir there singing, and they're not going to hear the whole thing, but they'll just see the choir or a small group, and maybe they can have some costumes or something just for something else to see. But I think that adds interest. And if we're advertising as a drive-through event, I don't think people are going to come down. Well, we'll just say it's the COVID deal. You can either drive through or just not see it at all. Oh, Merry Christmas, right? Not so much.
If you guys are going to need any electricity in front of the marina over by where Santa was. I think we only have one plug available by gate 3, Brian said, because the rest of it, we are adding a couple new things. But I just want to make sure what the electricity requirements are going to be.
Kathy, last year we had a multiple box that we plugged into the one outlet.
Okay, so that'll work again.
Should. Yeah.
Are you bringing a sleigh down then for Santa?
I'm still debating. I just feel very uncomfortable in asking Larry Stokes to haul a sleigh in for that particular purpose. And my brain has been going overtime as we've been speaking of how can we have Santa up high to where he would be better seen since it's a drive-through. That's the thing that I'm looking at.
Well, I can talk to Brian. He built that large oversized sleigh and see if he thinks that that's suitable, you know, for a person to sit in weight wise, if you want.
How hard and easy is it to get in and out?
Might need a step stool.
Well, that's no problem. That's no problem at all. And the other question that I was mulling over already in my mind, that's a 3-hour stretch. By the time he gets there and gets comfortable, say he's there at 4:30 and to 8, the bathrooms are right there by you guys where he would be, of course, but getting him down out of there, if he has to go to the bathroom, do we need another Santa substitute to fill in while Santa's in the bathroom?
And Santa is not extremely mobile.
Well, I have another Santa that we were looking at using, but I haven't called him yet. If there's a possibility that we could use him, I'll give him a call tomorrow and let him know what we're looking at. And possibly he could be a substitute Santa because he's mobile, that I understand.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be very hard for the Santa we have now to be out there that length of time. But if we could have a substitute or Mrs. Santa or an elf or whatever.
Well, Fathoms have some elf costumes. If we can get a couple of our board members to dress up as elves, that would be cute. And of course, our Fathoms royalty would be there by the sleigh to wave at everybody as they go by.
I think the mayor would make an excellent elf, don't you? We should ask the mayor if he would like to be the elf.
Well, I could certainly do that. Our costumes would fit him.
I think that's really thin ice. I'm just saying.
Mark, the costumes on Mark might come up to his knees or a little bit higher. So I don't know that you'd make a good elf, Mark. I'm sorry.
I would not make a good elf. I'd make a better ogre, but I don't know if the mayor is sensitive as to his stature. But I'll leave that up to somebody else to approach the mayor.
No, it doesn't imply anything. An elf gets.
I think he has a good sense of humor.
I do too.
Yeah.
And so does the police chief. I understand, you know, he was at the dunk tank and
he got dunked majorly by the mayor.
So you never know what staff and volunteers will have to don costumes and be waving.
Okay. Well, Cindy, do you think that I should call this Santa?
Yes.
His name is Jack. Bob Morehouse got him for me.
Yes.
And just have him totally on board to be the Santa and not the one that is a little bit less fragile.
How bad would it be to have two Santas?
Well, when you go shopping in the cities, there's several Santas.
What if we had a Santa in another location as well? Are we blowing all kinds of little kids?
I'm gonna just go again with what Mark said. The more stuff that you put, you're expecting people to behave when right now people are not behaving and treating each other with kindness. If you put two Santas out and you put a choir out, you will have people on foot. And if that's what you don't want to do, I cannot support this plan because the committee is discussing putting out all the things that are going to invite people to congregate and mix traffic with pedestrians. I mean, you guys I'm not the final decision maker, but I'm just letting you know the more stuff that the committee plans for that, I can't necessarily support because I think it starts pushing those safety boundaries. I don't want to be the Grinch though. If you guys are going to dress me up, please don't make me the Grinch.
Yeah,
Green works.
I show your face is green on my screen for some reason. I wonder why.
I love Christmas. I don't want to have to be dealing with crises for Christmas.
I hear you loud and clear. I hear you.
We're just trying to have something for people to view in some of those empty spots. So
Right, but I think what the chief is saying, anything that you fill into view at those empty spots become an attractive nuisance for people that are going to come down by foot, because they're going to think what it's been in the past and drive through. And then suddenly you've got all these different events going on, and now people are looking for the hot chocolate stand and the roasting marshmallow pit and all those things. So the clearer you can just have it is what we talked about a week ago or whatever, which is this is a drive-through event, but it's definitely shifting to a tweener. And then once you get into that tweener mode, then it becomes challenging. So I have a black hat that says the Grinch on it that my wife gives me every year to wear. So I can be the Grinch on this one. I want you to make this, I want this to work, but it feels like this is teetering on becoming a non-event, because we're now slipping back into what we had before, which is people in cars and COVID. And so I'm just kind of saying, if it's scope creep, may not get support of the police and public works, because it's moved away from what it was originally, and then we try to get away from that by supporting drive-through only. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not a decision maker. I just feel like the scope is expanding to something that isn't workable given the current conditions.
What if you had signs in front of like the empty lot in the choir that said no stopping or standing? If you had signage, would that help at all?
Well, now it's becoming an enforcement issue, and I don't know if we can, I mean, that wouldn't be illegal. Like it's a public sidewalk.
Yeah.
And I'm, again, I would like to believe in the good in people, but people are not okay right now with being told what to do.
I get it. It's hard when you just try to throw mud at the wall. You hope something sticks.
No, I know. And you guys can make this, you guys are the decisions makers. We just need to bring you our concerns.
Cindy,
So
I have to leave for another meeting at 4:30.
Okay.
I would like to recommend that if the council is going to view this on Tuesday, that we call for a meeting the following Monday. Is
Okay.
that possible?
Let's see. So that would be next week, Monday, the 25th.
Yeah, so that way we could continue discussions depending on what the council says.
Right. Probably let's try to aim for the displays in those empty lots as being more lighted. The problem is we don't have budget for anything. We don't have budget for purchasing stuff, but you just having those big, huge spaces with nothing in them is really tricky. We're just trying to have something for people to see as they drive by. So that's what we're needing to look at, is some kind of static display that we can afford. And since choir's already volunteered, you see it was a free display. Do you understand? That's a challenge we have, is that we can't afford lots of lights and displays any more than what we already have. So we'll work on it. I like the idea. We're trying to be very careful not to scope creep.
Cindy, what about reaching out to some of our community partners like Seroptimus or somebody and see if they want to create a display in some of those spaces, and then I don't know, maybe we can get some more community involvement in that.
We'll have to. And if we can have music playing in different places, that shouldn't keep people, that won't have people congregating. I think we'll try doing that. We'll try to have music playing from different locations, but that shouldn't stop the cars from moving. It's just nice to have some visual of some sort. So yeah, maybe there is somebody. We can put that up, and maybe we just don't have a lot of time. So, okay, we'll move forward with this. We'll say the 5 to 8 event. It's still going to be the traffic going through very slowly. We'll try to refrain from having anything that causes people to stop and stare. We'll try to use more just music. Music and lights, that's pretty much what we can do. And the city tree. And I don't think we'll light the tree until we're just ready to start the actual parade or whatever we're gonna call this thing.
We're gonna have, the port's gonna have quite a few lights. And like I said, we have a couple new surprises that we're adding this year as well. So
Okay,
some,
and
some pretty big stuff, so.
Okay. And Kitsap Bank is also gonna go all out. So we'll have that, and City Hall as much as we have. And last year was beautiful, so we'll still do that. We just have to make up for these areas, you know, the big holes.
So just a suggestion, and I'm gonna go on my experience as a kid that used to go to Candy Cane Lane over there in East Bremerton. You know, if you want music, instead of having a marching band, which creates COVID issues, and a choir that creates COVID issues, you could just have music, you know, where you've just got somebody with a boom box and whatever in different, you know, a couple different locations. That would certainly reduce. So as you're driving by with your windows open, you can hear Christmas music over there down by the totem pole. And then by the time you get up by Santa Claus, there's another music selection there. And then when you get over to City Hall, we've got music playing there by the Christmas tree. So you know, because again, we used to drive down Candy Cane Lane, and each house would have their candy canes and their lights, and they would have music playing. So you literally could go from house to house and go, oh, here's Charlie Brown Christmas, and here's, you know, so it wasn't like it was overlapping. You could create 3 main music stations, and not, I think the choir and the band create problems because that creates expectation that it's something other than it is. So again,
Right.
That's my opinion.
Right. It's gonna be boombox
Well,
Christmas music then.
Our display in front of the marina is going to have music already, and the lights will go along with the music. So that's one area you won't have to worry about music.
Good. And maybe we can have the library, you know, have some music going. We won't want to have people encouraged to go into the library either. So, so we'll ask different people along the way, and boomboxes are fine. You know, you can have something playing. Always, it's a consideration too of electricity, what's available. But all right. So we'll see what the council has to say. I think most members are actually in favor of trying to have something work this year. So it's just these logistics. And safety, public safety, which we really do understand. We're trying to be really safe. Can we get like a camel? Can we have a scene? I like the idea of camels. No, we won't. Honest, we won't. We're not going to do anything like that. We just won't. All right. So Sharon's gone. Anybody who has a connect with a group, when you find out if there's, we need to check on volunteer groups to see if they would like to put up some kind of light display in 2 areas downtown. We can acknowledge them in our information. So POPSA, Chris, is there anything POPSA is doing? I know that you want people downtown. So see.
So far, we're kind of waiting, I think, to have you guys finalize and see what makes sense. We're gonna encourage the businesses to be open, although I don't know that that's necessarily going to fit in the plan or not, with people driving by slowly and you not wanting people on the street.
Well, and the fact that we're doing it 5 to 8, Chris, is a lot of businesses would be closed anyway.
Ordinarily, they would be, yes.
So, you know, choosing that time is trying to keep from having that happen. But you know, if they've got people in their stores, they're going to be handling them like they would anyway.
Anyway, we have in terms of your music thing, we bought for the night markets a couple years ago a really good speaker system that sits up on top of Josephine's.
Oh, cool.
Put music out if you guys want to use that.
Yes, Chris. Okay, cool. Yes, that would be excellent. And if we could aim that music probably towards Bay Street rather than the waterfront, because Kathy will already have music playing, then we won't have that conflict. Excellent. That would be great.
Okay.
Okay, and at some point, we can actually ring the chimes if they work.
I'm gonna
You know?
check out, everybody. Good to see you.
Thank you, thank you. Good night.
Mm.
All right. Well, we'll give it a try. We'll see what we can do. We're gonna try to not have, I'll tell the choir no, and I'll tell,
Could the
Gary.
choir move? Could the choir be like on the back of a truck or something going along with the traffic?
I think that would be really hard. They have to go around in circles, which they
Right,
could do.
they just keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. The choir is not aware that we're going to have such a big change. And neither is Gary Gary Graham, the leader of the Kitsap marching band. So yeah. I was trying to have something that would be static. You know what I mean, you guys? It's not going over that well, you can see. I get it. I get it. I get it. What we have to do is find out, and we just heard from the powers that be that some things are not acceptable to them. If they sense there's going to be any kind of gathering and risk, they're not willing to sign off on it. We're working on them not even signing off on this. So, you know, we're pretty much trying to make sure that whatever we put together is acceptable to them, because nobody wants the risk. You know, the climate is just terrible for risk. So
Well, you don't want to be the last super spreader event of the year.
I know. And it won't be, because the people are going to be in their cars. So I don't think that'll happen. It's just mainly transitioning the thinking of people in this area to driving through rather than to attending an event, and how we're going to be getting that information out. I think that's going to be the hardest thing of all, is getting the word out. It's so new, you know, they're asking us for answers when we don't even have all the information to make decisions. So we're just getting just enough information to be able to plan. This is a very tricky situation, but I think it can work, and why not? Why not have it? I'm kind of like, well, we can't just have nothing. Attendance will drop off in the future, and you know, it's really important, I think, to the community to have this. So we'll do the best we can with what we have, right?
That's right.
Yeah, okay. So good idea for a meeting in a week. So let's plan on next Monday if you're available. Oh, Janine, do you think that would be something that's possible for you?
Let's see, so the 25th, so the day before council meets.
Yeah,
I believe I am. Oh yeah, I am. We're completely open, definitely.
or you know what? That's right, because this week is study session.
Yeah, it's the regular council meeting.
So we're not even getting a vote on it this week.
No,
It would be
next
that
week.
week. So you know what, you guys, a better date would be November 1st. Because then that's after the council vote.
After, okay. Yeah, I can definitely get something on our calendars.
Okay,
If you
and
guys.
then that way we'll have the input of what the council is saying, and transit, and again, public works, you know, police. Okay, let's plan on the 1st, which is like 1 month before the event.
It's
All
coming
right.
quick. All right, I'll get
No
the
more
information out
accidents
there.
downtown. We need all our planters. Can you believe
Oh,
that?
I have one more question for you. The plant,
Okay.
did you guys, I know when you produced the map, did you actually count the planters? Because
We
when
haven't passed.
planters this summer, the ones down at the far end on the side with the farmer's market by Irene's photos, the numbering there is really weird. I mean, like there's 1 or 2 missing down at that end. And there seems to be a couple of extra at Bobby's end.
Oh, I know, Chris, I wanted to have those planters all evenly spaced, and the word I got is they're too heavy to move around easily. And some people actually did move them. So, you know, that they have migrated, and there's a whole lot of them over by Carter's and Josephine's.
Those were in the same position. There was one extra. There was one on the map that was on the map, but wasn't numbered on the street. So there's only one wrong on that block.
It was like number 52 or something. We
Yeah,
have,
it's the one that's down. It's Bobby's block that's all messed up.
okay. Well, I'll try to get out there and I've got these little stake things that we're putting in for numbers.
Okay.
But you see, we're gonna have a gap again, I think, because we've been selling them. And now that we've got that one missing over by the bistro, it just throws it off. We'll have to maybe just not sell, Janine, like we did last year, not sell a certain one.
Okay.
We'll find out which number that should be, whether that's 25, 26, or 27.
Janine, if you
Okay.
need to use ours, we can put something right in front of the marina. So if you end up needing one, we can give ours up.
Okay, I mean, we still have 30, so 27, I think, available right now, but thank you. I'll get a hold of you just to kind of see where it goes in the next couple weeks.
Okay. All right, well, this is as far as we can go, I think. And I'm hearing it's pretty much if we have peoples any place that I think that the department heads are concerned will attract other people. So if we just have stuff, if we have music, if we have lights, display, that's not as apt to draw people.
I
That's
think
kinda
Rhonda was pretty disappointed with the lighted boats. I know that they've been kind of planning and working and inviting, so I'll talk to her, but we'll make that a different yacht clubby kind of thing that is contained in the marina, so that it's not an issue.
Yeah, and I'm sorry about that too, because I would love that. I think that makes such a difference. And if there's any way that those could be spread out at all for people to be able to see them, that would be awesome. But you can see what we're up against here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I just
Yeah.
know the boaters are gonna come. It just won't be I mean, the dock will still be open to the public, but we just won't advertise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much. This is tricky. Really appreciate it. So see you in a couple of weeks and hope that
Okay.
all is well in between. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you. Bye-bye.